Okay, so starting this solo, we've got some slow bending starting on the 17th fret on the high E. And we're just going to slowly bend that up. Then we're going to do that again. Then we're going to kind of speed that up a little bit. Then we've got 4 bends in quick succession after that. And then this is where the fun starts. There's quite a lot going on in terms of sort of picking or legato playing in this section on the actual album. And listening to the production of it, it's quite difficult really to kind of pick out what's going on. But I mean, he's definitely using the first position pentatonic, and he's kind of creeping into second position as well in E minor. So I mean, the pattern that I've kind of picked out is going to be this kind of thing repeated all the way down first position E minor. So we're going to have... Okay, so starting on 15 on high E, we're going to hammer on 17, then we're going to pull off from 17 to 15 to 12. Then we're going to move to the B string and play 17, pull off to 15, pull off to 12. Then re-hammer on 15 and 17. So we've got... Then we're going to play 12, 15, 17, 15, 12 on the high E. Then 17, 15, 12 on the B. And then re-hammer on 15 on the B. Then hammer on 17, pull off to 15, pull off to 12. It's quite a kind of long-winded explanation of that, but you're just taking that sort of shape and you're just literally just going up and down it. But you're just starting from a relatively weird kind of place. But and then you're just going to repeat that pattern again, starting on the 15th fret on the B, and then hammering on the 17th fret, pulling off to 15, pulling off to 12 on the B. Then you're going to keep the pattern going, but you're just going to move to 15, 14 and 12 on the G. So we've got... So hopefully you can kind of see the same pattern going on there. So joined with the first part, it should look like this. And then we're going to continue down first position E minor pentatonic and do the same thing again. Then so that whole lick back to back should look like this. Okay, so when you get down to the 12th fret on the low E, you just pull it off with your first finger to the open E and just let that ring out. Okay, now for the next lick, we're still going to be looking at E minor first position pentatonic. So let me just play through the lick and then we'll break it down. Right, so we're going to be starting this next lick on the 14th fret on the A, pulling off to 12 on the A. Then we're going to play 15 on the low E, pulling off to 12 on the low E. Then we're going to hammer on 15 on the high E, on the low E, sorry, so we're going to have... Then 12, hammer on 14 on the A. Then 12 on the D. Then we'll start that whole pattern again, but we'll just start from 14 on the D instead of on the A, so we're going to have... So hopefully you can see the pattern going through there. So And then we've got a bend on the 15th fret on the high E when we get to the top. So. And then we've got this lick, which is just going to be a repetitive lick, where we're going to be playing 12, 15 and 17 on the B, and the same on the high E. And we're pretty much just going to pick it all, starting with a downstroke using alternate picking. So 12, 15, 17 on the B, 12, 15, 17 on the high E, and just repeat that 3 times. Then we're going to bend up 17 once. Then we're going to come down using another sequence through E minor first position pentatonic. So we're going to start on 15, pull off to 12 on the high E, 15, pull off to 12 on the B, 14, pull off to 12 on the G, then hammer on 14 on the G, and then go back up again. So we're going to have then 12, hammer on 15, pull off from 15 to 12 on the B, then 14, pull off to 12 on the G, 14, pull off to 12 on the D, re-hammer on 14 on the D, and then play 12 on the G. So we're going to have... So that whole lick slow should sound like this. Okay, now for the next lick, which is going to be a fairly repetitive lick, but it can be quite tricky, although it's a fairly old school sounding lick. So here we go. Okay, starting off this lick, we're going to start on the 15th fret on the B. Now we're going to be using our first 3 fingers and just kind of using it to sort of stretch a little bit across the 12th, 15th and 17th fret. Just the choice of those fingers, it's just a little bit easier to kind of keep the lick going with the strength in those fingers. So starting off, 15, pull off to 12 on the B, then 15 on the G, 12 on the B, then 15, pull off to 12, then 17, pull off to 12, then 15 on the G, then 12 on the B, 15, pull off to 12 on the B, then 17, pull off to 12, and then repeat the whole lick again. So we're starting on the 15th fret on the B. Then finishing off that lick again, 15 on the G, 12 on the B before going and starting it again. So. And that whole lick is repeated 4 times over, so. Okay, now we're just going to kind of take that lick a little bit further, and we're just going to play on 1 string now. And we're going to play 15 and then 12 3 times. So 15, 12, 3 times, and then 17 and 12 3 times. And we're just going to repeat that 4 times round. Okay, so joining that onto the lick before. Okay, now we're still staying in the same sort of position, and the lick that we're going to be doing again is this. Okay, this lick is now going to start on the 12th fret, and we're going to play 15 and then 17, so, and then back down again. So again, we should be fairly used to this by now, but we're going to be picking all of it. So 12, 15, 17, 15, 12. Then we're going to have 15 on the G, 12 on the G, and then 15 on the G again, and then repeat the whole lick. So we're going to have. start of that lick always being the 12th fret on the B. So. Okay, so when you join it with the other part, it kind of makes sense if you play it all together. So let's see how that sounds. Okay, so he's kind of mixing it up a little bit there, giving it some variation. Okay, now the last thing we're going to do is we're just going to take a single pattern, which is going to start on the 12th fret and 10th fret on the high E, then repeated on the 12th fret and the 10th fret on the B. So we've got... Okay, the kind of way that I kind of get this lick fairly fast is to start on a downstroke and then an upstroke. So pick the first two notes and then hammer on and pull off the next two. So as you kind of get faster, you're just flicking the pick down and then up again. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking this shape and we're just going to be moving up a fret at a time. So at a slow tempo, it's going to sound like this. Okay, so when we get to around the 16th fret mark on the E, we're actually halving the amount of time we're staying on that lick. So we're actually playing it 4 times each up until that point, then we're playing it 2 each. So. So when we get to the 16th fret, we're playing that lick twice instead of 4 times. Okay, so up to speed, that's going to sound quite a bit faster than that, but again, using the technique that I explained a bit earlier, you should be able to get it up to fairly decent speed. The only thing really is just kind of training your left hand to just keep that repetition up without kind of hurting yourself. So, you know, if you kind of keep your fingers fairly kind of diagonal rather than flat, because that's kind of, you know, it's bad technique anyway when you sort of having your thumb down the bottom of the neck and doing that kind of thing. So you really want more of a kind of a blues position, you know, which is kind of sort of diagonal on with the thumb fairly near the top of the neck. And yeah, so up to speed, it should sound something like this. Then the last thing we're going to do is a bend, whole step on the 15th fret on the B. So we'll bend it twice, then we'll bend it 3 times, one after the other. So, actually bend it 4 times, and then just kind of hold the bend on the last time round and give it a bit of vibrato at the top. So we've got...